You are listening to the Fuerte Network. Coming to you from a celebration state of Arizona, we took the Nuggets and we swept those Nuggets in a 4-0, 4 games. Are we actually recording right now? Sweeping those Nuggets in 4 games. Take 55. Coming to you from a state of celebration, we swept those Nuggets under the rug.
Do you even watch sports at all?
10 years ago, I watched the playoffs. I figure...
This is Melina and Dom back with another episode of We've Got Issues.
AZ far-right, Alex-sponsored legislators continue their attack on our freedom to vote.
And lawmakers from over 6 states have come to take a tour of the needless audit. This attack on our election results is detrimental to the foundation of our democracy.
Right, but all this press attention that all the news outlets are giving it must seem pretty attractive to all these big lie supporters.
Yeah, and getting all this press coverage, like you said, is a huge fundraising opportunity. What states have come to visit so far?
So the states include Pennsylvania, Nevada, Alaska, Colorado, Georgia, and Virginia.
Wow. And you mentioned that the people behind this, that sponsored this, is ALEC. Who is ALEC?
Yeah. Okay, so ALEC is the American Legislative Exchange Council, and you might know them from such Arizona atrocities as SB 1070, Sheriff Joe, private prisons, private detention centers, and the list goes on and on and on.
So essentially, they're the evil masterminds behind all of these human rights violations.
Yeah, you got it. And now they have their pitchforks coming after our freedom to vote.
Facing criticism from the right wing for not yet making a trip to the southern border, during her first term, Vice President Kamala Harris took a 3-day trip to Guatemala and Mexico to search for the root cause of the record number of people attempting to seek asylum. Now she is receiving backlash because of what she had to say those attempting to cross the border.
I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come. Do not come.
And there were some good things that came from the trip. Mexico's President Andrés López Obrador signed an agreement stating the two governments will work together to foster agricultural and youth empowerment programs to better deliver, measure, and communicate assistance to the region.
The United States will continue to enforce our laws and secure our border. There are legal methods by which migration can and should occur.
Madam Vice President, seeking asylum is 100% legal, is it not?
One of our priorities will discourage illegal migration.
You went to Central America and Mexico to search for a solution to migration and even declared it a successful trip.
If you come to our border, you will be turned back.
If you really believe that America should follow its laws, then it's time to hear all the asylum requests that we've received over the past 4 years.
So we're back with another vaccine update. The pandemic isn't over for everybody. We're at 37% vaccination, I think, in Arizona.
Right.
But it's slowing down.
Right. It's slowing down. People are starting to get comfortable with what is now the new normal, I guess. And we see that with sports stadiums opening up, all these things going back to normal life, which is kind of crazy to think about, right?
I can't lie. I've gotten a little comfortable. I've gone out with some friends. I went to the movies to see In the Heights. I went to go watch the game at my friend's house, and it was great, but seeing the stadiums being that full, but then I'm on Twitter, and I just read that someone's 30-year-old nephew who was healthy, with no pre-existing conditions, just passed from COVID. So this isn't over.
Right.
People still need to continue getting vaccinated and continue being safe. And for folks like us who are vaccinated, we get to go out and party.
Exactly. And I'm curious to know what sports experts, sports fanatics are thinking about? Are you scared? Are you excited? What's the sentiment right now?
Are you happy to see that many people in the stands, or does it worry you?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's kind of a, I don't want to say bittersweet thing, but definitely we have gone down in terms of worrying. When you're going, especially with the run that the Phoenix Suns are in right now, all you're thinking about is going to support your team, screaming your head off, and getting your team that victory, helping them get that victory. The last thing on your mind is COVID. So, yes, they tell you to wear a mask. Yes, they tell you to keep distance. But when you got 16,000 people in the arena, you're not going to get 6 feet on people. When you're screaming, drinking beer, enjoying the game, you're not going to get everybody with the mask. So, that's why it is crucial. Super, super important for people to get out and get vaccinated. Like you guys said, there's no telling what's going on around you. I haven't been to the stadium for the Suns games with those full capacities, but this past weekend I went to a Phoenix Mercury game, and walking in, sure, people got their masks on, but pretty much as soon as they walk in, it's a free for all in there. No one's really enforcing everything, even though there are warnings out there. So you just never know where you're going, what you're going to see in these stadiums, in these movies, in these clubs that are opening back up. So, vaccination is at an all-time premium right now. This is definitely what people have to do. And overall, go Suns. Suns in 4. You guys touched on it a little bit. Dom, I know you're not a big sports guy, but even you were enjoying that performance that the Phoenix Suns put on the Denver Nuggets. They just had their way with them.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see so many people cheering the Suns on after so long, you know?
I know. Yeah, and the Nuggets were trying to get all violence. They thought they were playing football, and we still pulled that out. So
yeah, it's a Game 4 thing. Like, you're facing elimination. You know you got one foot out the door. You know, you try to do everything. And you know what? Jokic, that hard foul that he had, he's not that guy. He's never been that guy that chooses that violent route, because there are some that have that reputation that, you know, they go for the cheap swing. No, he was trying to fire up his team, you know, do anything to try to get him, bring him back to life. Went a little bit too far. He got ejected, but he did apologize to Cameron Payne before he left. And, he took an early shower and ended his season with an ejection. You know what? It happens. Yeah. Now the Phoenix Suns have about a week left before they figure out who their opponent is going to be, whether it's going to be the Los Angeles Clippers or the Utah Jazz. Either way, I cannot wait to be back in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. Let's go, Suns.
Woo. This past weekend, the long-awaited film adaptation of In the Heights hit theaters and HBO Max, and we watched it in both places.
Yeah, it was really buggy at our house, so we said, you know what, let's watch it in theaters, and we went the next day.
No, the truth is we already planned on watching it in theaters, but we couldn't wait, so we watched it at Xenia and Danny's house too, and it's pretty good. I really like it.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts about it is that it really has that opening sequence has so many different working class people. Like, you can see like snippets of people's lives. It really kind of encompasses just like the humble roots that a lot of us come from.
Right, and yet it's you know, this surreal movie, you know, mixing realism and surrealism to show how, you know, these dreams of these people are bigger than life, you know?
Yeah, it's very aspirational. It does a really good job of showing kind of how like struggle and dreams meet each other in like our everyday lives. There are some criticisms to it though. Like, I personally, there were a couple of choices to make it work for the time that I didn't exactly agree with.
Like any other work, it isn't perfect. People are already coming out to find all the little things that could have been done a little bit better, even though this is a huge leap forward in representation for the Latinx community, for the Afro-Latino community. You know, of course there could have been more.
Yeah.
Right? But behind the camera, in front of the camera, they included people of color, artists of color, to do this huge budget movie for a big studio. It's an enormous step forward.
And I'm grateful that they had all of the diversity and representation. And it is a big leap forward from like the representation that we're used to having, where like Latinos are commonly portrayed as criminals or gangbangers and all this stuff. This is definitely a divergence from that.
Yeah, and they made a little bit of changes from the old script. They took He Who Should Not Be Mentioned out and replaced him with Tiger Woods, which is really cool. You you know, and they incorporated a story about being a dreamer, which was like really touching. I thought they did it very tastefully.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next generation of media that this is going to inspire, like from both the critics and from the people who are like really big, like wholehearted fans from the show.
And I'm
like,
excited.
We need more.
I'm excited to see the work that these critics put out that does it better than this. Because if they can do it better than this, I'll watch that.
Yeah.
Fuerte is super excited to host our next 72-hour video challenge June 25th through the 28th. If you like making videos, editing, acting, join the challenge and be part of the fun time.
Yeah, so this is part of our Defending Democracy program, and this video challenge is going to be focused on registering people to vote. Have you ever registered anyone to vote?
Yeah, I started registering people in high school, and I'm really excited to see how we can motivate others to start registering their own folks through these videos.
It's like super exciting to see what y'all, the artists in our community, are going to come up with on how to register people to vote through your creative video.
Exactly. All experiences are welcome, and if you don't have a team, don't worry, we can find one for you. This has been episode 4 of We've Got Issues, a Fuerte Network production in association with Frecuencia Alterna. Today's episode was hosted by Melina Fonseca and Dominic Medina with special guest Xenia Orona. Produced and edited by Danny Orona. Graphics by Xenia Orona and Danny Orona. Theme music by Dominic Medina. Video of Kamala Harris, sourced from The Guardian News.
Thank you to all the artists who worked on the Heights. Thank you for using the people who lived in Washington Heights in your production. You know, giving jobs to our folks is definitely a huge plus of this movie. Thank you to the Suns for giving us something to be happy about. And thank you for The Guardian News for providing the clip of Vice President Harris.
Thoughts and opinions expressed by We've Got Issues do not necessarily represent those of the Fuerte Arts Movement.